Hey everybody, this is Alex, healthhacksreview.com, infrared sauna and other health devices expert. This video is an important one because this represents potentially the biggest risk if you're purchasing an infrared sauna. And so, as I always say, with some of the saunas out there, the biggest risk is going to be number one, high EMF, okay? Although a lot of the main brands have really reduced their EMFs quite a lot. The bigger risk nowadays is fire hazard and off-gassing. And when it comes to those two things, uh, we're specifically talking about plywood in a sauna. Plywood is most commonly used, and also fabric or other material types of coverings that are coating or going or glued on top of carbon emitters. There are a couple of saunas that use carbon emitters that don't glue anything or attach any sort of fabric or material on top of their emitters, by the way. There's really maybe 2-3 saunas that don't do that because they know it's not good for many reasons. One is that it actually reduces infrared output and exposure emissivity. Okay, you don't want to do that. And so in another video you'll see with my thermography camera an actual comparison of what it looks like when there's fabric glued on top versus not on a carbon, okay? And so the issue, the big issue is not only is it reducing infrared when there's something glued or a fabric on top of the carbon, is that a lot of times they have to, what they're going to glue on top of that or the material you're going to attach to it has to not catch fire, has to not be flammable. And so they'll usually use flame retardant, a flame type of retardant, sometimes another thicker coating of formaldehyde and another type of material on top. But either way, if you don't use that flame retardant, then then it's a real flammable risk. It will very likely catch fire, and that's happened many times in many homes over the last many years in this industry. So the problem with flame retardants is that it emits a lot of off-gassing problems like bromides. Just Wikipedia, flame retardant off-gassing, and you'll find all sorts of issues, neuroendocrinology sort of issues. Okay, so if you're going to get a carbon sauna, there's really only a couple brands, and the emitter, when you look at the pictures, the way you can tell is if you look at the carbon panels, if there's some good pictures the company's providing, it should look shiny. Okay, it should look shinier, and or it should just look black, and you really have to get a picture that's basically close up. You can always request from a company that they have an up close picture of their panel, and then you can look if there's any sort of material on top of it. That would be one way, okay? But again, never get anything that's covered. That's really important. The other very toxic thing in some of these saunas is plywood. And plywood, if you look closely at the side of the plywood, it looks like 3 pieces many times that are glued and compressed together, okay? And they're cured together. It looks like 3 thin strips, and it's very, very small. And so the way that they cure that wood very quickly, and some of these mass manufacturing overseas factories that are trying to crank out a lot of saunas, they'll use that, they'll cure it with a lot of formaldehyde, which definitely off gases. One thing you can ask is for a formaldehyde report from one of these factories or companies. But you usually will find that in saunas that are priced $1,800 and under, $1,500, $1,000 and under, usually on the lower end. If you have any questions about a sauna you're evaluating, a brand, and if they might be using plywood in there, I can definitely tap into a lot of the research that I've done and provide you with an answer and recommendation. So watch out for these couple things. They're major hazards. They are in some brands out there, and those really represent some of the biggest risks for infrared sauna usage. Thanks for watching.